It is in fact a cappuccino, yes. Because it reminds me of the first time I traveled abroad, basically. It was the first thing that I had when I got to Slovenia. And, you know, my first time experiencing jet lag, my first time experiencing, travel in a foreign country, being on a plane for more than an hour. And it was just a really nice comfort drink to have, and it just really made me, slow down a little bit and take everything in. So it's kind of stuck with me. My wife, Suma CM, is an artist, and she really just made me appreciate how much work goes into just the simple act of noticing things, and also the process in terms of the way she creates things. Her medium is watercolor and acrylic, and she's always encouraged me to try to make more things for its own sake, not just with sculptures, but also with some of my photographs that I've done, and she really just got me into it within the last 7 or 8 years. So. Well, for the photographs, it's basically two extremes. The first is sort of, if I can get my camera out in the nick of time, that it basically creates something. It's I very rarely just set things up and just wait for the perfect moment to take the picture. Usually it's something that I just happen to spontaneously notice, usually while I'm on a ride, and I'll slam on the brakes and whip the camera out in time and take the picture. Other times, like a trip I did to India a couple of years ago, I did a bike tour, and they weren't stopping for anything during the whole tour because they didn't want anyone to get left behind. So I had to literally become an expert at taking the camera out with one hand, turning it on, adjusting the focus, taking the picture, turning it off, and then putting it away without stopping. And so that's been one of the ones. The other has been, if I've seen something that I really, admired, especially when it has to do with shadows, I'll intentionally time a ride or time a trip somewhere when I know that the shadows are going to be nice and actually take the picture. One of the works, I didn't bring it with me, but one of the works is an overhead shot of a cyclist in Anaheim with the shadow cast perfectly to his left side. And it was just a matter of how do I get above a cyclist in order to take that picture? It's just perfectly above, and I just happened to be on a trail at a flood control canal, and it had a bridge, and I went up to the top in the sun, and I just waited for the cyclist to come by so I could just take the picture. But most of the time it's when I just happen to push the button in the nick of time. Yeah, it's all of it is bicycle related art. Either shots that I've taken of bikes in different parts of the world, and also some works that I've done by taking bike tools and bike pieces and putting them on photo paper, exposing them to the right amount of sunlight, and then soaking the sheets in cold water to create an image. And it's just sort of nice because bicycles are pretty much the same no matter where you go in the world. They're just the symbol of the English safety bicycle is just it's sort of universally recognized. It's just interesting, I think, to take this very familiar image and just look at it through the lens of different kinds of different countries. I really got into welding in the last 6 years. That was connected to bikes, but more of that these days, just doing it for its own sake. I really enjoy kayaking, especially off of West Beach in Stamford. And of course, travel is probably one of my favorite things to do. So I think just in general, people need to travel more, but not just travel to a new place. I think they need to get off of the map more. And it's like some people go to New York City and they just go to Times Square and they hit chain restaurants that are there. And they're just if you're going to travel, just go off of the cheesy map that they give you at the hotel lobby and just really explore and look for things that just are off the beaten path completely, because there's just more out there than what people want you to see. And it's I just remember experiencing this a bunch of years ago when I was at Elbow Key in the Bahamas, and they actually provided a map in the bed and breakfast lobby, and it was a very crudely drawn map and had just featured one road that went somewhere that didn't really have any kind of description, and everything else was just for beaches and views and that kind of thing. But I went down the road that they just kind of omitted off there and really literally found the slum area where all of the hotel employees basically live, and it was just a very interesting experience to see all of that. And then more recently, a couple years ago, the Dominican Republic, where I don't speak the language, and without a cell phone, I went far away from the city center, completely off the map. Nothing was to scale, and really got to see different parts of living that I never would ever have a chance to. So it's something that I really recommend for people to travel and just really put a commitment into traveling.